Ron, what was your reaction when you heard the news this afternoon?
My initial reaction was, "Holy cow, that's fantastic." I don't know if I'll be able to put it into words, but he just carries a cachet, Carlos, and I think he is, so proven as a player, as all Mets fans know. One of the great players, switch hitters to ever play the game. All of those things, but I just thought with the remaining candidates, that was the best choice, and I'm happy he's the next manager.
Have you, I was talking to Andy about this earlier, have you seen him evolve as a baseball mind since the time he was a player to where he is now?
Well, I think he's always been such, his baseball intelligence is through the roof. It always has been since he was a rookie with the Kansas City Royals. Anyone who's known him since the day he started until the day he ended, always talked and bragged about that part of his game. So he's always had that. When you watch a player play, you know whether he was taught the correct way or not. And Carlos was one of those of the former. You know that whoever had him as a young player taught him how to play the game correctly, and he'll be able to pass that on. I think it's going to be just I don't know. With the people that were left, I think it's such an interesting choice. I think it comes with, of course, some difficulties because of the inexperience, but it comes with so much more, and I can't wait for it to start.
Do you think the only reason, Ron, that players of his caliber, borderline Hall of Famers like Carlos Beltran, don't take this job more often is their reluctance to do it?
I think they don't take this job more often because they don't have to. They make so much money in today's game that there's no reason to have to work anymore after you've played. So sometimes that drive is taken away, as opposed to 50 years ago, great players would coach or manage all the time because they had to continue to be in the game of baseball to earn a livelihood. That he wants to come out of retirement and back into baseball and into a uniform as a manager, I think says a lot about Carlos. He's done a lot in Puerto Rico with teaching young players at his academy. He's always been interested in the development of young players, and now he's going to get his chance.
Do you find it fascinating, just to expand on that last point, that he had retirement ahead of him, relaxing days and nights instead of managing a game, answering questions to his in-game managing, that his decision was at this point in his life to work harder?
I think that this must be such a passion for him that he had to do it. There probably were so many, whether it was his wife or his children, I'm sure that at some point wanted to tug him back home. There had to be so many tentacles that wanted them to probably stay out of an active role in baseball. But he has such a passion for it that it overwhelmed all of those other decisions. So this is his time and place. I think Carlos saying that he only wanted to interview for the Mets job, and that was it, I think goes a long way in how Mets fans, and certainly I, feel about the passion he has to manage the Mets. And I just find it interesting that for his generation of player that could really say, thank you very much, I wipe my hands, I'm done, I played a great career, I'm just waiting for the call from the Hall of Fame, decides that he wants to go in. And Carlos is not a guy who's going to come in and just be any kind of manager. He has the passion, I'm sure, to be one of the greatest of all time, like he was as a player. I wouldn't expect anything less.
Last one, and I know Keith, it sounded like, was in favor of this. The story that Andy reported earlier that when Carlos was interviewing to be the Yankees manager, he was in favor of bringing Terry Collins on as his bench coach. He said the same thing reportedly to the Mets. Do you think that would be a smart move?
Listen, there's no one who's a bigger fan of Terry Collins than I. And I think at this point in Carlos's managerial life and Terry's ex-managerial life, I think it could be an amazing fit where a guy like Terry that I think would not be a guy in waiting, would not be a kind of a sniper on the bench, would be a guy only to teach, instruct, mentor a young, aspiring manager who wants to be great. I think it would be a great fit. There's probably other fits out there, but I know that Carlos has had a lot of comments about how he appreciated playing for Terry Collins, best manager maybe that he ever played with. That if he wants that and he wants that bad enough, I think the Mets should let that happen.